Hi, everybody. Hopefully everybody had a terrific weekend, got to enjoy the weather. Parents, before we get started today on a new lesson, there's a couple things I want to address here. I got my note card is over here. First of all, there is not going to be a new video or new lesson next week. The project that I'm going to do today is I'm going to stretch it for 2 weeks. Couple reasons for this. First reason for it is, though the project itself is simple, to do a quality job on it, the kids are going to need more than just 1 week to work on it. Second reason is, many students still need to finish up their name cards and their emojis. I don't want to give them too much work because I know students are getting assignments from different teachers in several subjects. I just don't want to bog them down with too much art. Hopefully stretching out this project that we're going to do for 2 weeks will give the students who need time to finish their name cards and their emojis, it'll give them enough time to get it done and get them into me. Though I gave due dates that are passing or have passed on these assignments, I'll still accept them. When your child gets done with them, just send them to me through Schoology or through my email, and I'll still accept them. Because I know right now kids have a lot of work to do, and I know you have a lot of work to do too. So I'm going to try being as accommodating as possible on this. All right, as for this project, what we're going to do on this project is I'm not going to give any preview really like I usually do. I'm just going to start off by going over the supplies we need. And then through that, we're going to get started. And I will explain the learning targets as we're going on. A little bit different than before. Now, first of all, what you're going to need is you're going to need a clean piece of paper. Copy paper would probably be best, but something white, something you can draw on. You're also going to need a pencil. And you're going to need something black to trace in. Could be a black marker, thick one, thin one, black colored pencil, black crayon. And one more thing you're going to need is you're going to need 2 different colors. Whatever 2 different colors you want to use, you're going to pick 2 colors. Not black, because we're going to be tracing with black, but you can use crayons, you can use markers, colored pencils, or whatever else you have to color with. Okay, now let's get started with this project. By the way, this project is called Lines, Coloring, and Patterns. And you'll find a little bit more about that as we're going on. Now, our first learning target over here, and I'm going to do this in black Sharpie so you can see all my lines. I'm going to do it that way. You're going to do yours in pencil to start off with, though. Okay, I'm just going to do mine so you can see my lines as I'm going on here. Now, first of all, what we're going to have to do here is we're going to draw some straight lines. Actually, I got this wrong one up here. That's why it's coming in so dark already and everything like that, because that's not the one I wanted. The one I wanted is over here where you can't see where the lines are yet. Yeah, that's better. I can see them, you can't right now. That's okay. You'll see them soon. Anyhow, what you're going to do with your pencil is this. We're going to be working with the paper this way, just like you see it over here. And what I'm going to do is right in the middle of the paper, starting at the top and going all the way down to the bottom, I am going to draw what's called a straight line. All the way down to the bottom of the paper. Like I said, you're going to do it with a pencil. I'm doing it with a Sharpie so you can see it. Now a straight line, it doesn't have any curves or bends to it or sharp turns to it. It's just that it goes from one place to the other from one side to the other without bending. That's a straight line. I made one in the middle and I want you to do one in the middle too, like this. But then what I'm going to do is I need to do two more straight lines coming from the top of the paper going to the bottom of the paper. The next one I'm going to do is going to be between the left-hand side of the paper and where I made my first line. I'm going to try getting it as close to the middle of this part as possible. Once again, I'm going just straight down. Just like that. That's my second straight line. I need to make one more straight line too. And this straight line is going to go, it's going to be in between the first line I did and the right side of the paper. I'm going to try getting it right in between there and make my third one. One, two, three straight lines going up and down. That's our first learning target. I can draw 3 straight lines evenly apart, meaning having about an even amount of space, the same amount of space on each side of them. That's the first learning target. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to also draw lines going across the paper too. But these lines are not going to be straight. Oh no, they're not. These lines are called curved lines. And I'm going to show you how to draw one of those right now. Now a curved line, this line bends. It doesn't go straight. It has bends to it. Up and down and up and down. I'm going to do one here right in the middle of the paper again, going across the middle of the paper like this. So I have an even amount of space on the top and on the bottom, or close to an even amount of space on the top and the bottom. That's what I want you to do next, is make a curved line. Curved lines are bending lines. Just think about bending lines when you're thinking about curved lines. What I need to do now too is I need to put another one in between the top of the paper and where I made my first one. So I'm going to look for what's about almost the middle between where I started my first curved line and where the top of the paper is. And I'm going to make another curved line going from there all the way across the paper, up and down and up, like that. And then what I'm going to do is I need to make one more. And this time I'm going to make it between the top, between the middle and beneath the bottom here. I'm going to make one more of them. And my paper is going to fall off. Not quite. I got it. Okay, so that's what I need you to do. And when you're done with that, you're done with the pencils. And that was the second learning target too, is I can draw 3 curved lines that are evenly spaced apart on the paper. I'm talking about evenly spaced again, just about the same space for each one. Doesn't have to be exact because mine's not exact, but close. Okay. Now, Our next learning target after that is going to be to trace my pencil lines. Now this is where this was the one I had on before that should have been second and not first. As you can see, I got pencil lines there on this one. Now what you're gonna do is this. You're gonna take something black, either a marker, Sharpie, colored pencil, or a crayon. Parents, I want to address this though. Make sure if your children are using if they're using something that's a water-based marker or a black crayon that's going to smear, you might want to wait for this to have them do this step until they're done coloring, because we're going to color these too. But if you have something that doesn't smear, like a Sharpie or a black colored pencil, then you can do this step first. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna try tracing over the lines you just drew. Take your time and try making sure you're right on those pencil lines as you're doing it. And try tracing, practicing. Not so much different than what you probably do on some of your alphabet papers where you need to trace your letters. Same thing. And that's your next learning target too, is that I can trace these lines. I can trace over these lines. That is a learning target too. And I won't make you watch me trace the rest of them because I already have a paper that is traced. You need to trace all of them. And when you're done, you should have something that looks like this. Now here comes the part where we color. I'm going to show you how to color. I mean, everybody thinks they know how to color, but I'm going to show you how to color to get to color it neatly. Because these do need to be colored neatly. And it's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of practice to do. Some of you already know how to do coloring real good. Some of you are still learning how to color yet. But parents, I always do start off my year with a coloring project. It's usually a picture that I've made, and I have the students do it step by step. This is where it takes a little longer to do because of that. And we're going to work on step by step here. Like I said, it's going to last a couple weeks, I'm sure, because of that. But it's important that they practice. This is a learned skill. Some of them are going to be further advanced than others, but little practice is the key here. Now, kids, when I'm starting off here, I'm going to start off on this section right up here. And that's where I want you to start. And you're going to take one of your two colors, whichever one you picked. And you're just going to worry about working in this section and this section only. Now, some of you might want to trace where you're coloring first of all, like I'm doing here right now. And what you want to do is you want to color a little bit at a time. little bit at a time. So you don't miss any spots in there. I'm going to show you the right way to do it, like I'm doing right now. I also have a paper to show you how not to do it. See, if I go a little bit at a time, and I could go fast doing a little bit at a time too. But if I do a little bit at a time, instead of trying to get this whole area at one time, I'm not going to miss any spots. Go over it a little bit at a time like I'm doing here. And get it all the way to the edge of the paper here too. See how that whole section is colored in now? I didn't miss any spots, and I'm still not out of the lines either. But I did it a little bit at a time. If you try doing it too much at a time, you'll get something like this, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Some of you want to get it done real fast, but if you go real fast like this, first of all, I broke my crayon. But if you're going real fast like this, you're going to get out of the lines. And look at all the spots I'm missing here too. I'm going fast, but I'm missing a lot. I'm going out of the lines. See how that looks? See how this one looks where I tried doing a little bit at a time? Much different, eh? Okay, we're going to move on to the next step here. Now I'm going to be working with a broken crayon, but that's okay. It'll still work. Oh boy, this is all falling apart on me now. Okay. I think everything's back in place now. Now this time though, next one over here, I'm going to be going across here, by the way. This section next to the one I just did, I'm not going to color this section yet. I'm going to skip a section and I'm going to start coloring the one that's, I'm going to color one, skip one, and I'm going to color this one. And then I'm going to skip this one. Once again, a little bit at a time. Nice and neat again. And when you're done coloring that with whatever color you used, your paper should look something like this. Now on my second row, I'm going to do things different. On my second row, you see this first section here on my second row? I'm not going to color that one. Nope. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that one blank. But you see this over here, the second section? This is where I'm going to start coloring. I'm going to color in my second row. I'm going to start coloring the second section, and I'm going to leave the first section white. And once again, I'm going to do this real nice, real neat, little bit at a time. Very important. Try doing it a little bit in time. That's going to keep you from going out of the lines. Plus, you're not going to miss anything either. If you try doing too much at one time, it's going to take you longer to cover it all up. If you do a little bit at a time, like I'm doing here, it won't take you as long to cover it up. Even though if you do it, try doing too much at a time, you might think you're going faster, but you're actually not, because you're going to be taking more time to try cover up where you didn't get in the first place. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come in the first row. I colored the third section, but in the second row, I'm not going to color this section. I'm going to skip over one, and I'm going to go to this last section here. And I'm going to start coloring over here like this. And when I'm through with that, get something that looks like this. Now in the third row, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the third row like I did the first row. So over here, my first one in this section over here, I'm going to color. Once again, a little bit at a time. And you try doing yours the same, a little bit at a time. And try staying in the lines when you're doing it. If you go out of the lines, it's a mistake, and don't worry about it, because mistakes are allowed here. This is something you're learning, so mistakes are allowed. Don't worry about it. Just try your best. Try your best to stay in the lines, and try your best to cover everything up. Okay. Once again, I'm going to do this one, the third row, like I did the first row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the next one here. I'm going to go to the third section in the third row. And that one's going to get colored in too. Once again, a little bit at a time. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the bottom section here. In the bottom section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to color the bottom section so it looks like the second row. So in the bottom section, this one's going to get, the first one's not going to get colored, but the second one will. And the third one's not going to get colored, but the fourth one will. And when I have that all colored, it's going to look like this. What I did here is called a pattern. pattern is, is when something repeats itself. Like here, I went with I colored here, I left this one white. I colored here, I left this one white. And then on this one, I went white colored like that. And then I repeated my third section here. I repeated the first section like I did on the third section. And I repeated the fourth section just like I did the second section here. That's what's called pattern, when you repeat something. Now, got one more step for you and then we're going to be done here. What you're going to do is you're going to pick your second color, whatever your second color was, and you're going to color all the rest of the ones you haven't colored yet using the second color. Once again, try staying in the lines as you're doing it. Nice and neat. Stay in the lines, try not missing any spots. When you're done with this, there shouldn't be any white paper showing. And I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. Now, I could have you watch me color this whole thing, but I'm not going to have you do that. Have you watch me color this section over here till it's finished. Little bit at a time so you're not missing anything and staying in lines like that. When you're done, like I said, when you're done, you should not have any white paper showing. And you'll get something. It's going to look something like this. There we go. So have fun, take your time doing this, do the best you can, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.